Hey there, player one. Welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about game categories and how you address curating the collection for yourself. Because as much as we like to be able to play the things that are really deep or super attractive, we actually have to prepare our days, prepare our collection to meet us where we are when things are at different energy levels or different moods. So today I'm going to go over a game mechanic called dice drafting. That's something I've learned to love. It didn't start that way. The dreaded D6, chuck it to see if I got a 5 or a 6, right? At the end of the day, that stopped intriguing me, but I didn't know about dice drafting. So once I discovered it and discovered more about myself and how much I enjoyed the dice drafting, it was a revolution in my collection. It started small, Tiny Epic Galaxies, classic in the dice drafting genre. So I got the expansion, made sure I was ready for the game, and that was one of the first ones. So after that, I got into role player. I just found so many different things to enable me as a player, and it showed me that I was able to create a narrative and a story in my mind and still go for points and not feel weighted down by the lack of theme. More or less, you're just dice drafting and trying to achieve goals. I ended up grabbing the one deck dungeon, and there's a lot of dice allocation in that one as well, and mitigation. And now dice drafting was something that I could look at and go, oh, I'm gonna pick out some more. And those were smaller games. I wanted something bigger, but dice drafting to me was always something that I didn't believe had a bigger kind of scope to it. Over the years, I got Arion, and I grabbed Under Falling Skies, and this one really kind of flipped it on me. It's got so much pressure, much more pressure than role player, much more pressure than the other like Arion. I hadn't had that anxiety from a dice drafting game, and that was a really cool experience because there's a campaign in there and you really get to dive deep. It started out, this is the coolest thing about Under Falling Skies. It started out as a print and play, so people were able to experience it before it ever got published. And to me, that's one of the joys of this hobby. It's just how it grows. So like I was telling you about having that curated collection, having something of depth at different moods, different energy levels. Under Falling Skies, it only meets me at some places. Sometimes I'm just, ooh, that's too anxious for me. That's where I grabbed a couple others. My favorite, actually. Let's go to that one. Castles of Burgundy, the dice drafting game, or the dice game. It's just what I needed. Never too much. Anyways, I grabbed the Red Cathedral. Had to read it. So then I ended up grabbing the White Castle, and just being able to use dice drafting in like a new way. Finally, like these historical settings. I'm actually slanted that way as far as a player. So I grabbed Sagrada. That's a really exciting thing nowadays because Sagrada got completed just very recently. And knowing that I enjoyed dice drafting, I was so ready to finally get a big game. So Civolution, that's where it is. And now my collection has like this sliding list of dice drafting games. How engaged do I need to be? How deep do I want to go? Because for me, I know this mechanic goes far. At the end of the day, I also was able to experiment, and sometimes you take a risk when you're grabbing games. So I grabbed Magnificent. Just everything in this. It's got polyominoes, it's got dice drafting, it's a blend of mechanics, and it's got a cool art. It really intrigues me to have something so dark on the game board. For some reason, that's a change on the beige, right? But then I also imported one. This is Grow Sky, and it's got dice drafting in it as well as like another polyomino thing. I really know a little bit more about myself, so my collection can really have this blend to integrate what I want, and suddenly I feel like whether I'm low energy, whether I'm really engaged on a full day of gaming, I've got something for me. there in the dice drafting.
No.
Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end. Obviously, I'm figuring things out slowly, but if you could help me out, a little bit of feedback in the comments section would go a long way to allow me to dial that in. So, have fun gaming, and I'll see you guys all later.